Today we are looking at the very impressive Ultimate Collector Series Jango Fett Slave 1. Jango Fett's Starship. Since this was revealed, I was pretty stoked for it. This is only the second version of Jango Fett's ship we've ever gotten. I did the rebuild of the original a couple videos ago. And we're going to be getting another one kind of in that mini scale soon later this year. But before then, I'm going to build this UCS version. So let's go ahead and open up the ship of man who's just trying to make his way in the universe. Okay, stop right here and move that pin down one space. That helps fix the nose wobble that you will notice if you don't do it, and it will also save you a ton of time in the future when you have to take a bunch of pieces apart to try and fix that instead. So move that down one spot on both sides, much more solid nose.
Crucial.
And here is the Ultimate Collector Series Jango Fett Starship, and this is a phenomenal set. I had an absolute blast building it. There's so many interesting techniques to connect all the pieces, the sides, the base. There's clamps and clips that you build early on that you have no real idea on what they're going to be used for, and then several different bags down the line you finally clip something into it or attach something different to it, and it's a lot of fun as you discover the pieces that you're building. I think my only complaints would be this part it's a little too loose. That may be from something that I built and didn't attach correctly. There's a few gaps that is kind of common with all these spaceship builds. You just can't seem to build a ship without having some kind of non-airtight seal, so it's kind of something that's expected at this point. And then some of the pieces on the back I feel aren't going to stay on very well as time goes by. I think it'll be one of those things that you bump into it or you move it around. There'll be the things that like fall off, kind of bits of it. And then of course for the Boba Fett minifigure, for it being a UCS set, the legs really should have been dual molded for his boots. There's really not much of an excuse for them not to have been. And the hair's okay. I don't think it's the best representation of the character. I do like Jango's faces. They gave him a good serious kind of non-reactive expression, which he has kind of most of the time when he's dealing with Obi-Wan. And then he's got kind of a more intense, angry face on the other side, which I kind of wish he had gotten more of a smirky face with maybe the headset that he's got to wear in Attack of the Clones when they're flying the ship around through the asteroid field. I think that could have been a nice touch. It may have been tricky to do so with the hairpiece to cover it up, though. I would have liked it, but it's not a deal breaker that they didn't include it. The rest of Jango is great. He's got great arm printing, good leg printing on his feet. The torso is great. The new rangefinder on the helmet I am a big fan of. I've always hated the new rangefinders with how tall they've been. I'm glad they made them shorter. This one on Jango looks really good. I put it on one of the extras on the Boba Fett from the UCS set 2, and that one looks a lot better. I kind of wish that we had gotten some more as extras. You get 3 in the set. 5 would have been even better. So I've got 1 more that I can do for the new Boba Fett in the Sarlacc pit set. And then after that, I don't know. Hopefully these end up being pretty cheap on the aftermarket on like Bricklink, and that'll help keep their costs down. Or maybe they'll show up and pick a brick, because this I want to add to pretty much all the old Boba Fett figures at this point. As far as the ship goes, like I said, the build was a lot of fun. I had a great time just putting the whole thing together. This is only the second UCS set I've ever put together, the other one being the Mos Eisley Cantina. But I do have 3 others that I've just never gotten around to building. They're just sitting in my to-build pile. Once I have, room for them, I will eventually put them together and display them at some point. I do have the Boba Fett's UCS Slave one, but I didn't build that, unfortunately. I got it off of a buddy who was getting rid of it. He was moving at the time, so he was selling it for kind of dirt cheap, and it was too good of an offer to pass up on, so I grabbed it. Since, as I've mentioned in other videos, I've got pretty much all the other versions of Slave 1, so didn't want to miss out on the UCS as well. And they're about the same size. Their shapes are a little different, and obviously the build techniques have changed since that one came out. So the shaping and a lot of the other things are noticeably different just looking at them, but size-wise, they're not too far off. As far as the original Jango Fett Slave one goes, that one is a little bit smaller than this one, and obviously has a lot more of the older, blockier style, where they couldn't quite get the curves of the sleek spaceships that they can now. That one was still a lot of fun to build and revisit, so I'm glad I've got both of them, but I really enjoyed building this one. This was a lot of fun. I love the ramp door feature where you can push down on the ramp and the door opens. I love the interior cockpit with all the seating. I do wish that one had the rotating seats, but for all the detail you get, I think that was a fair enough trade that I'm okay that it doesn't have it. This set had a decent amount of stickers. Nothing that was too obnoxious to put on. Really just the stickers on the seismic charge were probably the most annoying to line up and make even. Everything else I didn't have too big of a problem with. I was okay with having them where they're at. It looks like it's fewer stickers than Boba's Slave 1 too, so that's good. And this being a printed piece, again, is such a much better way to go instead of it being a ginormous sticker. I hope LEGO always continues to do these printed plaques, because way better. So yeah, definitely a phenomenal set. The build was great, the final product is great, solid minifigures, love that new rangefinder, door is great, it's a great build, get it, definitely. Alright, and that's it for the build video. Here's your hint at the next unboxing video. Leave a guess what you think it is in the comments below. And until then, stay safe, happy hunting.